the spirit of this group going into the All-Star game break, going with the team's progression. And with your first All-Star game coming up this Saturday, what does it mean to represent the Dallas Wings?
In the deafening chaos of the 2023 Final Four, as confetti rained down on Carver Hawkeye Arena and 15,000 Iowa fans celebrated their team's impossible victory over undefeated South Carolina, two young women found each other in the center of the court and shared a moment that would come to define their friendship forever. Because when Caitlin Clark wrapped her arms around Monika Czinano, her teammate, confidant, and closest friend, the words she whispered into Monika's ear were not about basketball statistics or championship dreams or the frenzy of fans celebrating around them, but about a promise she had made 3 years earlier. A promise so personal, so quietly transformative, and so profoundly human that when Monika finally understood what Caitlin had been carrying inside her all that time, both women broke down in tears that had nothing to do with victory and everything to do with a bond that transcended the game itself. And what makes this moment extraordinary is the way it asks us how it is possible that two people can share the same dream for so long, sacrifice so much for each other's success, and yet keep the deepest truths of their friendship hidden until the moment when everything they've worked for finally comes together in a single flash of confetti and emotion. Because what you are about to glimpse in their story is not simply the tale of two athletes who formed a potent basketball duo that captivated the nation, but rather the untold chronicle of a friendship forged through hidden sacrifices, unwavering loyalty, and a kind of love so pure and selfless that it altered the trajectory of both their lives forever. And what nobody in that raucous crowd knew was that the words Caitlin whispered to Monika that night had been 3 years in the making, rooted in a conversation they had shared as uncertain freshmen in 2020 when both were struggling to find their place in a program that demanded everything they had to give. Because when Caitlin arrived at Iowa, she did so as the five-star recruit, the golden child of Iowa basketball, burdened with expectations so immense they could have crushed most 18-year-olds, while Monika had transferred from Creighton, a talented post player seeking a fresh start and a chance to prove herself on a larger stage. And yet, in that uneasy beginning, there emerged something many overlook about the most meaningful friendships. They often do not begin with instant connection or surface-level similarities, but with two people recognizing in each other the same hidden fear, the same unspoken fragility, and the same desperate desire to belong. And so their first real conversation, which would plant the seed of their unbreakable bond, did not unfold in the gym or the locker room, but rather in the quiet corner of a campus coffee shop on a rainy October afternoon, where Caitlin, weighed down by the suffocating expectations of being hailed as Iowa's savior, found herself face to face with Monika, who was questioning whether she had made the right decision to transfer and whether she belonged on a team with someone as prodigiously gifted as Caitlin. And it was there, with the sound of rain against the windows and the nervous stirring of coffee, that Monika admitted, "I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Everyone expects you to be the savior of Iowa basketball, and I'm just trying not to embarrass myself in practice." To which Caitlin, her trademark bravado giving way to unexpected vulnerability, leaned forward and confessed with a small, almost shy smile, "You know, it's funny. I'm terrified too. Everyone thinks I have all the answers, but most days I feel like I'm just pretending to know what I'm doing." And in that instant, the walls that pressure had built around them both began to crack, and the foundation of something much greater than either of them could have imagined was laid. A friendship rooted in mutual understanding and shared fears, a companionship forged in the quiet admission that both of them were simply human. And what Monika did not know was that on that night Caitlin made a private vow to herself, a decision so subtle that no one around her would have detected it, that she would do everything in her power to ensure Monika succeeded, even if it meant sacrificing her own opportunities to shine. Because sometimes the greatest act of friendship is not about standing tallest, but about choosing to share the spotlight when you could easily keep it all for yourself. And as their journey together began in earnest, those early days were full of growing pains, little triumphs, and an unspoken rhythm of trust slowly building between them, with Caitlin in practices deliberately searching for Monika in the post, feeding her passes that showcased her skill even when easier shots were available, with Caitlin in meetings speaking up for Monika's ideas so that her quieter voice was not drowned out by louder personalities, and with Caitlin in countless unseen ways amplifying her friend's presence, until one evening after an intense practice Monika finally asked, almost incredulously, "Why do you always pass to me when you could score yourself?" And Caitlin, pausing carefully, answered, because basketball is better when we're all great, and you're going to be great, Monika. I can see it even if you can't yet. Words that would become less an assurance than a prophecy that Caitlin was determined to make real, as she pored over film not merely to sharpen her own play, but to discover new ways of setting Monika up for success. As she lobbied coaches for plays that highlighted Monika's strengths, and as she consistently placed her teammates' growth at the center of her own ambitions. For she believed that their combined success would mean more than anything she could achieve alone. And indeed, Caitlin quietly turned down opportunities that could have bolstered her individual stardom, such as insisting that an ESPN feature include Monika, or negotiating with Sports Illustrated that what might have been a solo cover become instead a shared feature that celebrated their partnership. And by their sophomore year, their synchronicity was so evident that the media began to call them the Law Firm, a nickname that captured the precision, trust, and reliability with which they operated, a duo whose movements seemed choreographed by some deeper bond, and yet beneath the public narrative of two stars thriving together lay the private story of whispered promises, late-night conversations, and the kind of sacrifices most fans would never know. The invisible threads of loyalty and devotion that culminated on that March night in 2023, when the tears they shed in the center of the arena revealed the true heart of their friendship and showed the world, if only for a fleeting moment, that the most powerful victories are not written on scoreboards but in the unbreakable.
Just point guard, it's everything, and I think like we saw it tonight with the variety of lineups. I was able to play a variety of positions, and I think that helps the team a lot, just with giving different looks, different mismatch.
Caitlin was the flashy attorney making the opening arguments, the one who lit up the courtroom with daring flourishes, while Monika was the steady partner who closed the deal with quiet efficiency. And when Monika, after their first big win of the season, turned to Caitlin and asked excitedly, "Did you hear what they're calling us?" Caitlin grinned and replied, "The Law Firm. I like it. It sounds like we're partners in something bigger than basketball." Yet what Monika didn't realize was how literally Caitlin meant those words, because to her their partnership was never just about basketball success or the wins that filled newspapers and highlight reels, but about proving that friendship could be the true foundation of greatness, that two people who genuinely cared for one another's success could reach heights that no amount of individual brilliance could achieve alone. And as the 2022-23 season unfolded, bringing with it pressures that tested every fiber of their resilience, with Iowa ranked in the top 5 all year and the nation expecting nothing short of a deep tournament run, with Caitlin being mentioned as a potential National Player of the Year and Monika carving out her reputation as one of the most reliable and efficient post players in the country. The bond between them deepened in ways that reached far beyond basketball, for they studied together, shared meals, celebrated milestones, and comforted each other through the inevitable disappointments that accompany high-level sport. And Caitlin in particular made it her mission to ensure Monika never felt isolated in the shadow of her own rising stardom, sending her texts after every game not about shots or statistics but about her family, her studies, her dreams beyond the court, weaving into or statistics but about her family, her studies, her dreams beyond the court, weaving into every conversation the reminder that she valued Monika not just as a teammate but as a whole person. And one evening after a particularly painful loss, as they walked slowly across campus, Caitlin had looked at Monika and said softly, "You know what I love about you? You never let this game change who you are. You're still the same person who was nervous about fitting in 3 years ago, except now you know you belong here." And while Monika smiled at those words, grateful but not fully grasping their weight, she still did not understand the depth of Caitlin's quiet sacrifices, the countless moments when she deliberately shared the spotlight, the ways she orchestrated opportunities for Monika to shine, the endless small choices that built Monika's confidence brick by brick, choices that only years later would reveal their full significance. And as the NCAA tournament arrived, the truth of their partnership was put on display in dazzling fashion, as the law firm produced game after game of brilliance that felt larger than individual skill, almost as though they were tapping into an invisible thread of connection that allowed them to anticipate each other's movements, to find each other in the chaos, to steady one another in the heat of pressure. And in the Elite Eight victory over Louisville, though Caitlin's record-breaking 41-point triple-double dominated the headlines, the true students of the game noticed how many of those assists went directly to Monika, how often Caitlin looked for her even when she was in the rhythm of unstoppable scoring, a quiet signal that their partnership was about far more than glory, and then in the Final Four upset over mighty South Carolina, while Caitlin's shot-making would echo through history, it was Monika's calm, immovable presence in the post that gave Caitlin the freedom and courage to take those shots, because behind every fearless flourish was the anchor of trust in her friend. And yet the most important moment came not in the plays themselves, but in the aftermath, as the final horn sounded and Iowa had accomplished the unthinkable, because in the midst of deafening celebration and swirling cameras, Caitlin found Monika, pulled her into a long embrace, and in that sacred pocket of intimacy whispered words that would change everything. "Monika, I need to tell you something I should have told you 3 years ago." And as Monika looked into Caitlin's eyes, she saw not only joy but a profound relief, the release of a burden that had been carried in silence. And Caitlin continued through tears. "That first year when you were doubting yourself, when you thought you didn't belong here, I made a promise to myself that I would do everything I could to help you succeed. Not just as a teammate, but as a friend. Every pass I've thrown to you, every time I've talked you up to coaches and media, every opportunity I've shared, it wasn't just because it was good basketball. It was because I believed in you before you believed in yourself." And those words hit Monika with the force of revelation, reframing 3 years of partnership in a single instant. Every moment Caitlin had chosen the extra pass, every post-game interview where she had deflected praise to highlight Monika, every time she had said the right thing to steady her. All of it now revealed as part of a silent promise born from care. And with tears streaming, Monika replied, "You didn't just help me succeed,